I hope she's okay.
I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
Welcome into the Daily Puck Drop. It's Puck. I'm back. I'm back after a couple of days off. I know you missed me. My bad. All right, we're here every single day of the Daily Puck Drop, starting at 10 o'clock. We are live on Twitter and on YouTube. Also, the Puck Sports mobile app. If you don't have the Puck Sports mobile app, please download it today to your smartphone. We got a lot on the show today. Of course, the Daily Puck Drop, we're broadcasting from the Limback Lumber Studios. Contractors, they offer free deliveries, everything from whole house packages to homeowner DIY projects, and the largest stock moldings in the Northwest. Old school service because they've been doing it since 1930. Give them a call, 206-782-3487. Visit them online at limbacklumber.com. You can follow me on all the social media platforms, the haven of good. Really, Puck Sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky, Puck_sports on TikTok, and you can find us on Facebook. Also, you can go to pucksports.com, sign up to become a member of the Pucks Posse. You get full access to everything that we do, including the Sports Pit, our visits with Mitch Levy, Mitch Unfiltered, KJ Arntz. Every week we talk to Ryan Divish, our MLB insider, as well. I unlock this week's episode, though, so you can actually watch and listen to that for free. All right, no Jim Moore today. He's traveling, and people are going to say, well, he doesn't want to come on. Oh, he wants to come on. Problem is his daughter has just given birth to another child, so he's helping his beautiful daughter, Brooke, out, all right? But don't worry, we got Chris Egan coming up later, the Scouts coming up later, but joining us at the start of the show, ladies and gentlemen, from the Seattle Times, it is our good friend Adam Jude. I know you're running on empty, my friend. It's been a long week for you. Terrific reporting on everything that has gone on with the Mariners. I'll start off. How'd they do?
I don't think they could have done much better, right? I think there was some hand wringing, a lot of people on the edge of their seat. I could sense from the Mariner fan base on Thursday all day, trying to see if the Mariners could squeeze in one last deal. They really got the market started a week ago with the Josh Naylor trade. They were very close on a superstar closer on Wednesday. They had to pivot and get a really nice lefty in Caleb Ferguson. And then really the creme de la creme for the Mariners, getting a Eugenio Suarez late Wednesday. Obviously, was their number one target all along. He's the guy the Mariners fan base needs no introduction. And I just thought, what a magical scene. Let's be real about it. Thursday night was really special. And it was special because it's Gino. We would not have seen that with anybody else. There's not another player on the planet are you going to get what we got at T-Mobile Park on Thursday night. Gino is just Gino. He is one of one. He is one of the most earnest human beings I've ever been around. And I just couldn't believe it's been 2 years since we've been around him. I mean, I just felt better about myself being around him for a few minutes. He literally ended his post-game interview session in the clubhouse yesterday saying, I love you guys, to the small group of media there. And I was like, who does that? Who loves the media? Nobody loves the media. Gino loves the media. Of course he does. So you can imagine how his actual friends, his actual teammates, the people around him in that clubhouse feel. Cal Raleigh, I think, really expressed that well late Wednesday, right after news of the trade came out. So the Mariners get an A. They get an A. They had one of the best trade deadlines of any team in baseball. They had probably their best trade deadline in franchise history, and they made no bounds about it. They talked about it openly yesterday. They're trying to win a World Series. This is what they owe this team. This is what they owe Cal Raleigh. This is what they owe this fan base, and they're going for it.
What, if anything, surprised you about it?
I don't know that anything particularly surprised me. I wrote 6 weeks ago that their goal was to basically replicate more or less what they did a year ago. Get an impact bat like they did with Randy Arozarena. Get a secondary piece like a Justin Turner, proven guy who could fill in some spots, and then go get a 7th, 8th inning relief guy. And they did all three of those things. Check, check, check. Again, they were in up until pretty much the last minute on Thursday, up to the deadline, on another potential setup high leverage relief option. Again, we can talk more about Johan Duran if you want, but the Mariners thought that for a minute at least that they had pushed that across the finish line And I know they were a little disappointed they weren't able to execute that one, and the fan base was too, because I think some folks Wednesday had gotten their hopes up, and maybe rightfully so. But nothing particularly surprised me. They were, targeting those two corner spots. They were actually hoping to get Naylor and Gino in the same package initially, and I think Arizona smartly broke those guys up and got a little bit more in return than they would have otherwise. But generally, nothing really surprised me other than the Mariners, open up their wallets a little bit. They added about $10 million in payroll, and again, making no mistake that they're going all in, and they are pushing for it here.
Adam, what do you think happened with the Duran deal? I mean, how did it fall apart at the last second, and what did the Twins come back with something that just the Mariners did not want to part with?
No, I don't think. My sense is that's not really how it played out. I wouldn't even say that's probably the right description, is to fall apart. It's like, hey, the Mariners say, this is what we're comfortable giving up, and they were comfortable giving up more than they probably have in any other deal in recent history, probably more, they'd say, than what they gave up for Luis Castillo in that package. So the Twins, I think basically the Mariners finished runner-up in that deal. If you ask the Mariners, they felt like their prospect package, which included 2 elite prospects, was better than what the Phillies gave up. But of course, the Mariners are going to value their prospects more than probably just about any other team. But I think at the end of the day, the Twins looked and said, we prefer whatever this guy for a particular reason. And maybe the tipping point, the tiebreaker was, you're sending a start closer to the National League versus keeping him in the American League for the next couple of years. But, I'm not going to get in the Twins' heads, obviously. But the Mariners were right there. At least they felt like they were right there. And that's the only thing that would have made really this deadline even better for the Mariners, was getting that, 8th, 9th inning lights out guy. But we saw the price tag for all those relievers yesterday go off the board. It was pretty astronomical what it took to get some of those guys. And obviously the Mariners have a line. They're disciplined, and honestly, good for them for sticking to it.
It is amazing, as you and I, we've been around baseball for all our lives, to see how the dynamic of the sport has changed so much in terms of prospects getting dealt for relievers. I mean, back in the day, it was dime a dozen. You get any of those guys. Now you're giving up value top prospects for those arms. It's just this amazing shift in the sport, in the game, of how much you now value those relievers.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think part of that was just how the market played out this summer. There just happened to be so many of those guys available. I don't think this was a normal year. We're not going to see a Mason Miller and a Johan Duran and a David Bednar. Those are 3 elite closers. We rarely maybe see one in a typical deadline, but I think that's just the way the market was, where teams see an opportunity to strike and go out and maximize the return on those types of guys. We did see some elite prospects move more than we have in years past. Obviously, over the last decade or so, front offices have gotten a lot smarter, obviously playing into the analytics, saying, the future value, you hear that buzz phrase a lot, future value is more important than what we might be able to get for the final 50-game push here. But, the Mariners metrics, their internal projections, they showed, a negative return and all deals that they made, I think, this time out. Again, that's just when you're giving up future value and prospect capital. And the guy that they really liked in Tyler Locklear in particular, Brandon Garcia going back to the Diamondbacks. But again, that just tells you, even though the model says don't do this deal, the Mariners made all 3 of them because they know that these were the perfect fits, really at the perfect time, and this is what they needed to do for this team.
Adam, I think you already answered it, but one of the follow-ups I was going to have, do you think the Ferguson deal was enough? Do you think that trade, acquiring him, was enough for that bullpen?
Again, I think in an ideal world, the Mariners would have loved to add another 7th, 8th inning setup guy. Trent Thornton going down last night, really tough scene with 2 outs in the 9th inning, sprinting to cover first base. That looks like a pretty serious one for Trent. We haven't gotten anything official yet. He's supposed to have an MRI here today, and we'll find out tonight at the ballpark. But again, you can never have enough relief help, of course, right? You see a lot of these teams, the Padres loading up, the Yankees loading up, the Mets loading up in the back end of their bullpen. At the end of the day, when you step back, how valuable is a guy who's going to pitch 1 out of 9 innings every couple of days, right? Philosophically, that's what you need to ask yourself. Would you rather have a first baseman and a third baseman who are going to bat 4 or 5 in your lineup and play every day and 4 at-bats every day? Of course, those guys are more valuable. That said, ideally, yes, you want to be able to get into a playoff series and shorten games and be able to turn to your bullpen in the 4th or the middle of 5th inning if you need to, and really turn to a lights-out bullpen. But again, you can't have everything. I don't think there was any team out there that had a perfect trade deadline or has a perfect roster right now, right? The whole point is that the American League is wide open. The Mariners recognize that. A number of American League teams recognize that. The Astros got better yesterday. The Rangers got better yesterday. The Yankees got better yesterday. It is wide open. The whole point is, yes, the Mariners want to go win the West, but the idea is just to get in the dance. They felt for a few years now that they have a team, obviously a roster built for the playoffs. Now you got to get there and prove it.
Mm-hmm. You know what? The question I asked earlier, what if anything surprised you? I think what stunned me, if you and I, we probably talked before the deadline, weeks ago about this. In fact, we did, and we talked about what it would cost to get Suarez and even Naylor. Like, if you would have told me before the trade deadline, they're not going to give up one single prospect that's in the top 100 of baseball, not one, to acquire both those guys, I'd be like, you're
I'll amend my
no way. There's absolutely no way. And that's exactly what they did. It's amazing.
I thought for sure they'd have to give up a Harry Ford type, but I did hear that they were not willing to give up Harry Ford specifically for any rental. And again, good for them for having discipline and having a line and sticking to it. But I immediately heard after the Suarez trade from another National League scout who just went, whoa, like, I cannot believe how light that return was for the Diamondbacks, because the same thing, to your point, that he was expecting at least one top 100 guy. And again, Tyler Locklear is a really good prospect and has been in the top 100, and he's had a really good bounce back here and made some adjustments. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the Arizona Diamondbacks starting first baseman for the next 4 or 5 years, right? So, but it costs you something to get something. And again, it's a Eugenio Suarez. It's the guy the Mariners know so well. And beyond what he can do with his bat, it's just elevating the mood and elevating everything in that clubhouse, feeling like he just gives everyone a shot in the arm. He gives me a shot in the arm, and I'm just an adult media guy here, right? So I'm saying, like, imagine how Cal feels. Imagine how J.P. Crawford feels and the pitching staff, too, having him behind him. So he was the perfect guy. And again, I think we saw that from the fan base last night, too. If he was only here 2 years, it felt like a decade, right? It felt like he was, I'm not going to put him in Felix Hernandez territory, but it just felt like he was a rung below that of a guy who's so revered and had such an impact in such a short amount of time. And here we are. We got another short window with them, 50 games, and let's go find out what they can do.
And it's a great salty and spicy, or salty and sweet mix with him and Naylor. Because Naylor is just like the complete opposite. Not like he's not a good guy, but like when you watch him,
so serious.
Like the other day when he hits the home run, and he wants nothing to do with the Trident. Just nothing to do with it.
But
Get away
fun.
from me. Yeah.
It was fun to see them even pregame. Like, Naylor was sort of hugging him in warm-ups and messing around a little bit. So I think, Naylor, obviously, with his third team in 6 months, really, and he's going to be a free agent then this year. I think he's naturally a pretty intense and serious guy. So he's just kind of putting his head down and like, I got to do what I got to do. He even said, he told us a story yesterday. He's like, people ask me all the time when I'm at first base if I'm real chatty or I talk to base runners there. He's like, no, never. He's like, I'm too focused on what I'm doing. I'm not trying to be rude. It's just, I'm focused on, okay, if the ball hits my left, the ball hits my right, this is what I have to do. I'm always trying to think and think 1 or 2 steps ahead. So I thought that was a pretty interesting story. And again, obviously a guy who the Mariners had to have. And you see the juxtaposition yesterday with Rowdy Tellez now playing for the Rangers, who was a solid Mariner, but at the end of the day, not what they needed. He wasn't going to help them long-term or even short-term more than he did. And so you got to go out and get a guy like Naylor. And I think that was a really, really good pickup and kind of already forgotten a week later in some ways.
Adam, it was a little bit of a sad day for those who are a part of my club, and that is and I'm the president of the Ben Williamson fan club. It was a tough day. Now we've got to go down to Tacoma now to go watch him. Was there any thought at all for them that they were going to keep him and maybe make another decision on the roster, or was it just too easy for them? Like, this guy's the third baseman; he needs to play every single day down in Tacoma.
Yeah, you answered it there. He's got to get his at bats. That's bottom line. You can't have any regular major league hitter hovering around 600 OPS and being in your lineup every day, even if it's at the bottom of the lineup, but especially if you're trying to make a playoff push. We all saw the glove. He almost single-handedly won them the game the other day in Sacramento. He is a wizard there. He has a chance to win not only one gold glove, but maybe multiple gold gloves in his career. I don't like the idea, as a side note, of moving him around and making him some sort of utility player. I mean,
Okay.
I'm certainly capable of playing second base and maybe shortstop a little bit too, because we've seen it. He's just so good with the glove. But, stick him at third. His value is as a third baseman. Why would you take him off there? So he needs to go get regular bats. He needs to build up confidence, get more comfortable, learn how to. Yes, they love his approach to right center field, the line drives, the contact, but he needs to learn how to get into hitters' counts and pull the ball with authority too. And again, that's a great spot to be as a young guy who was thrust and rushed to the major leagues. He survived for 2.5 months. He should take away a lot of confidence from that and potentially come back next year penciled in as the third baseman. We'll see what happens with Gino in the free agent market this winter. But Ben is going to be fine. He won over a ton of people. Obviously, no one more than you. He's going to be fine. He's got a lot of work to do, though. I think we should be spending a lot more time talking about Cole Young. I mean, talk about what a night last night was because of Gino. And, oh, by the way, Cal Raleigh hit his 42nd home run. But Cole Young, to me, and we've seen it for a few weeks now, again, and he's so close with Ben Williamson, too, and they would always kind of felt like huddled in the corner together and sort of like, as you should. They were roommates down in Tacoma. They've kind of grown up together the past couple of years in the minors. But, of course, they're going to stick together, and they're going through all this stuff really for the first time. But Cole is, again, I don't want to overreact to 2 at-bats. But those 2 at-bats were 113-mile-per-hour rocket into the second deck and a triple in a ballpark that suppresses triples more than any other ballpark really in baseball, too. And so it's like, look at this guy. He's built like, Adam Frazier, and he's hitting the ball 470 feet or whatever they want to call it now. And it's like, are you freaking kidding me? This guy's going to be an all-star next year. Cole Young is it. I'm telling you, like, as excited as everyone should be and is about Gino and about the rest of this lineup, if you have Cole Young hitting number 9 right now, I'm telling you, this is vibes of, Griffey, Edgar, Buhner, 90s Mariners lineup here. Like, this is a chance to be really fun. And again, we're overreacting to one game where they had a bunch of big hits, but Cole Young, I'm telling you, has a chance to be maybe the best story for this team over the next year.
I love him. And he looks like he's 8 years old. That's the other part.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, he looks like he could be playing for the North Lake. He looked like he could be on the North Lake Little League All-Star team. Okay, and there it is. And he could be a hell of a player for the North Lake Little League All-Star team. There he is, Adam Jude, Seattle Times. Please go read all of his work. Subscribe to the paper, seattletimes.com. Go get yourself a hard copy. You can follow along also on social media at @A_Jude. Appreciate it. Get some sleep. Thanks for doing it. Catch up on everything that you've missed this week. And thank you again, Adam.
Thanks, Buck. Good times.
All right. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Chris Egan from King 5. But first, let's get word from one of our sponsors, Georgetown Brewery.
Drink Georgetown Tavern Beer, your new locally brewed domestic-style lager. 4.2% alcohol. Cheap, good, local.
Again, big thanks to Adam Jude for joining us at the top of the show. And again, if you're just joining us, no Jim Moore today. No, we didn't fire him. No, he's not suspended. Nothing happened. His beautiful daughter, Brooke, gave birth to her second child. So Grandpa Jim is helping his daughter out. He'll be back on Monday, and we'll cover all of it. Trust me, we'll get all of it. Chris Egan coming up bottom of the hour, 10 minutes from right now. We'll talk about I don't think there's anyone more excited in the world than Chris Egan about getting Eugenio Suarez back. No one loves the guy more there than Chris Egan. The scout, our MLB anonymous scout, will join us coming up after we talk to Chris Egan. Well, he gives us the scoop. I record him every Friday in the morning. He's going to give us the scoop on the players that the M's gave up. Just talking about the trade in general. What does the baseball world think of what the Mariners did? I don't know how anyone can find fault at this. I am as pessimistic as a Mariner fan out there. You guys have watched and listened to me for years. There still is. When I was playing golf yesterday with the guy that I was partnered up with, he was a huge Mariners fan, Steve, huge Mariners fan, and we were just both like, we want them to be so good, We're begging for them to be good, but at the same time, cannot stand the ownership. And, for the most part, really can't stand the GM. With that being said, no matter how you do feel about this front office and Jerry DePoto, you got to take a step back for him and Hollander and just said, hey, they did a wonderful job here at the deadline. You give it a grade, that's an A. They addressed exactly what they needed to address. I know what the reaction is. Well, they had to address it because they didn't do it in the offseason. I understand that, but they did it. Like they did. I don't. Sometimes people just aren't going to be happy with anything because had they done nothing, then we would have complained about them doing nothing. They went out and they solved a problem that was self-inflicted. Looking back, that they should never have parted ways with Suarez. They never had a real plan going into the season, what they were going to do at third base, but they fixed the problem. They understood that wasn't the right thing to do. They got the best hitter on the market. I mean, the absolute best hitter. And this is, it's 2 years in a row where they've done this. A little bit less last year with the Rose Arena. It wasn't as high profile as Suarez, but they went out and got the best hitter on the market. They went out and got a fabulous, left-handed hitting first baseman there in Josh Naylor. They did everything that we've been begging them to do. Everything. So, again, if you're going to take a step back and still find fault with them, that's not on the organization. That's them. That's on you, because there is a part, and I strongly believe this. There's a part, and we talked about this in the last show we did, I think it was on Tuesday, because it was like the Ben Williamson storyline. And you know me, I'm heartbroken with Ben Williamson, and I get it. I'm not a complete moron. I understand that they needed to make this move for Suarez, but I just love Ben Williamson. So I'm sad to see him go, right, and see if he comes back at some point. I think there's just a part of the fan base, and I don't know how big it is. I don't think it's a majority. I think it's small, but it's a small vocal group that wants them to fail so they can then turn around and say they were right about DePoto. I don't like DePoto, but I'm not going to sit there and want them to fail, and hopefully he doesn't make a trade or do something that causes, the Mariners to lose games so they miss the playoffs so we can get rid of Jerry DePoto. Whatever. I want this baseball. I care more about the team that's on the field, and I care more about my fandom for the players, for the team itself. I just want them to get in, make a long run. I'll be honest with you. Yes, I'd love to see a World Series. They don't need to win the World Series for me. I mean, that's not like a make or break. Can you get there? Can you get to an ALCS? Can you please, for the love of God, just give me something more as we get into October to root for? They've just got so many pieces in place where they can actually make a pretty decent run, because that's what we've been, the last few years, what we've always been discussing with this team is they are certainly built for the postseason. They're just not built for a regular season team that needs to get into the postseason. And it bears out in the last few years because of how many games they've missed the playoffs by. It's been a game. So the difference, one would imagine, by adding Suarez and Naylor is, can that make up the game difference? I would hope so. I would hope it would make up several games. But it's going to be wild. Rangers got better. The Astros got better. At some point, it feels like Alvarez will come back, and then they will be as close as they can be to full strength. It's going to be the Yankees, what they did. We'll see how much they can navigate the world without Aaron Judge. But right now, when you look at the Mariners, despite where they're at in the standings, still, 4.5 games back of Houston, I think, what they accomplished in the deadline, and had a lot of people in the baseball world saying, no, this is the team. This is the team in the American League. And you can see it. Look how long they are now. Look at how deep they are. They've never been like this. They've never had this. And, for the first time, they have got it. And so it's going to be sensational to kind of watch how this plays out. This town will gravitate towards him. It will be a buzz. I think last night, what you saw on that diamond last night was a buzz, was fun, and I thought what the ovation there for Suarez was great. The city has been bubbling for this group to put it together as a collective group because they've been waiting so long. I mean, to go through these waves of you make the playoffs and then you don't make the playoffs forever. You thought a couple of years ago when they finally ended that drought, which was another 20 years, 21 years, I can't even remember anymore. You thought it was 21. You thought, okay, now this is the start of they'll have a run, and then they have that season in 22, and then it's missed playoffs, and you get frustrated by the off seasons, what they did not add, how they did not improve this ball club, despite with what they've got in the pitching department. It finally feels, and maybe it's some of the pressure on Dipoto going in, this is his 10th year, that he has to feel like he has to do something finally, and ownership sensing that as well. But they went out and acquired 2 just impactful bats. I think you can make a good argument with Ferguson. You're like, all right, could they have done better in the bullpen realm of things? Yeah, they could have done better. But the scout, who has spent a lot of time, I think, scouting those players, especially some with the Pirates and even Ferguson, has a great breakdown on Caleb Ferguson. That I think once you listen to it, and we'll play it coming up in a little bit, I think once you're done listening to it, I think you'll be kind of excited about what the Mariners are getting in Caleb Ferguson. I think you're going to like it. I think you're going to like what you're going to see. And you see what the dividends yesterday with this new offense look like. Contributions for the 2 new guys. You saw Josh Naylor with another single. I mean, he's faster and more athletic than I ever thought. I mean, he's already got 5 stolen bases. He's unbelievable, this guy. He gets a hell of a first jump, by the way. You saw Suarez with the double and immediately standing on second base and showing how much he loves, this city. If you haven't seen his press conference that he had with the media before the game, it was just great. Talking about how excited he was and how his family's excited, especially his wife, because they had so many friends here. This guy genuinely loves this city. And that's what's kind of, we were talking to Jude in the beginning of the show, is remarkable a little bit about Suarez. Not like he played here forever, 2 years. But the impact that he made in just 2 years with this fan base, pretty remarkable. There's not a lot of players that can do that. Not a lot of players that can make that type of impact on a fan base, and he certainly did. And he is going to be someone, as they get in the thick of this playoff race and continue to wind down towards the end of the season, when the pressure mounts, people are on edge, nerves are kicking in, you're living and dying on not just every game, but it's every pitch. There is a levity and a calmness that someone like Suarez can bring, that I think you need that on your team. Flip side of it, you look at Josh Naylor, you need someone also with that quiet intensity. And so I think those 2 guys play off each other beautifully. And that's what's going to be fun to watch. And who knows? Even if it is just a rental for these 2 guys, fine. If it ends up, them getting in the World Series, great. But don't, close out the idea or shut the door on the idea that it could be something where they end up giving, contracts to both of them. I don't think it's a wild idea for sure. But again, last night you saw that first time where you see these new guys in the lineup, what they were able to do. Cole Young's home run was just freaking amazing, just unbelievable. You had Cal Raleigh hitting his 42nd home run. So a good start to the new look Mariners as we get towards the end of the stretch run here in the Major League Baseball season. All right. No Jim Moore today, but you know who we always have him on every single Friday. He is the president of the Good Vibes Fan Club. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Egan, the Prince of Puyallup. Mr. Egan, how are you?
Again, I don't want to take all the credit for Geno Suarez coming to Seattle, but last week you
But I'm
mentioned
about to.
I'm about to. I'm about to, Puckett. Last Friday, you mentioned on the show every Friday. I just couldn't. I tried last Friday. We were in Cooperstown, New York. My son and I.
Right.
I was there reporting. Brought the son along for just an incredible trip. We can get into that and the travel from hell on the way home. That's a story in its own. But
Sure.
in Cooperstown, and obviously all the big wigs from the Mariners, show up for this big event. Ken Griffey Jr. was there, Mr. Mariner, Alvin Davis, Jerry DiPoto was there,
Tim Hevley.
Tim Hevley, Justin Hollander, Kevin Martinez, Greg Green, and also our good friend John Stanton was, they hosted a private party. We can't talk about that, but what we can talk about
Why
is
can't
that
why not? Why can't we talk about the private
well,
party?
I mean,
Who
there's
got out of control at the private party?
It was just really good food. It was Ichiro's favorite things, and it was just phenomenal food. But on Friday, when I should have been on this show, son and I were kind of roaming around Cooperstown, and there's, John Stanton, the owner of the Mariners, who's kind of going around town and even signing some autographs to Mariner fans. And Puckett, John and I, we've known each other a long time. And he goes, yeah, this is kind of cool, Egan. I'm signing autographs. And I simply said one thing. I said, you know what? You sign Geno, you'll be signing a lot more autographs.
How about that?
Boom, right there.
So you got
Puckett,
the deal done.
I think it sealed the deal. I think that sealed the deal right there. And here we go.
Once again, you have saved the season for the Mariners and really all of baseball in the Pacific Northwest. Thanks to Chris Egan, Eugenio Suarez is a Mariner.
Thank you, Puckett. I appreciate it. That's probably why Jim is not on the show, because usually, I can go back 5 months, the complaining, the bickering about Mariners management doing nothing. So my question to you, Puckett, and to if there are those fans out there that still want to bicker, still want to complain, what are you complaining about at this point?
There's going to be someone. It wouldn't be Mariners baseball without somebody complaining about what they didn't do. They should have done more.
We should have got another reliever. We should have got another. We needed help. We needed help in the bullpen. But Puckett, I mean, how can you not give Jerry DiPoto an A grade for these two moves and for what was left? What left the Mariners organization? I mean, Tyler Locklear, great guy, but if you were to tell me that was the main person we lost, and we pick up Naylor and Geno Suarez, I don't know how we pulled it off. I feel like that movie with Kevin Costner with the Cleveland and Seahawks draft day, like Jerry DiPoto sprinkled a little magic on this, and we brought in two great bats, and here we go. And 28,000 last night at T-Mobile, place was rocking, and big homestand right now. So
why do you think there is? I was saying this just right before you came on. This connection between this fan base and Suarez. Jude brought it up earlier when I had him on. He only played here for 2 years, but it's as if he played here 10 plus years.
I tell this as a reporter that's covered sports for 30 years. I try to tell this to my kids, my boys, my daughter. People like good people. Yes. Is it whole? No. And I'm being honest here. We can go to the movie. Gladiator. Win the fans. Win the fans. You win the fans, and that's a huge thing. And he won the fans over when he was here. And this is a guy that I still remember being there with Alan Reed, the late great Alan Reed, at Mariners spring training when the trade was done. And Geno walks into camp, and he's coming down that pathway where he's going to enter the clubhouse in Peoria, and he just looks at us and he does this, and hey guys, and it was just like, oh my God, this guy's just fun. He's fun to be around. He hits home runs, and he's got a personality. And guess what? He's nice. It's just like, do those things. And I know there's people sometimes that don't want to go that extra mile. Well, you don't do that, you're not going to win the fans over. He won the fans over in a short amount of time. Obviously, he was on this team, Puck, during what most fans watching Mariner baseball would call the greatest year in Mariners history when they went to the playoffs. And he was a big part of that team and was always there in the post-game interviews, doing the good vibes only. So I think he just knows how he's won over the fans. So and he definitely, when you hit that many home runs and you need somebody that can hit left-handed hitters, he was your guy, and you got him.
You know what's so amazing? You go back to the initial deal that brought him here with Winker.
Mm-hmm.
He was like the afterthought.
No, I know. I remember that. Yeah.
He was like the throw-in guy. Like, and we got Suarez and, whatever. They had to include him in there.
Yeah.
And he just turns out to be, Winker, I'll be honest with you, I can't even remember where Winker is anymore.
No, I can't either.
I have no idea. But that was a crash and burn. And then this guy becomes a Seattle legend.
And Winker came in. I think Winker was an all-star the year before. So, there was so much, like, this is the guy. And yeah, you're right. It was kind of like the Kyle Seager, I think, was kind of like the second behind Dustin Ackley. When we got Ackley, it was like, we may get this this other North Carolina kid, Seager, who's not bad. But no, I think it was just like, and I give credit, Puck, to pay. Maybe I take the credit for Gino, but I give a lot of credit to you yourself, Jim Moore,
thank you,
other members of the media, the fans that have let management know for the past 5 years, please do something. So the pressure was on. I think pressure was on to do something. And
sure.
I'm not in marketing. I don't run a billion-dollar sports industry. But if I'm the Seattle Mariners, I'm looking around and thinking, you know what? This is our time. This is our time. There's no hope at the moment of the Sonics returning. The Seahawks are still kings. The NFL is always going to be kings,
sure.
But this is a good chance to really win over this city. And if you can get this team in the playoffs, Puck, you know what can happen. I mean,
I don't think it's going to be. I don't think you're going to sit back and go, hey, if they miss out, if they miss out on the playoffs or they don't do any damage in the playoffs, I don't think I'm going to sit back and fault what they did.
No,
at the deadline. I think you can go back big picture and go, this is why before the season, this is why you got to do all this stuff. You got to really make your team better in the offseason, not wait till the trade deadline. And that will be a separate conversation when we get there. But for what was in front of them at the deadline, what they needed to add, they did just that. They got exactly what everybody wanted them to add. First base, third base, and then a bullpen arm. Could you say, hey, could the bullpen arm been a little bit better? Okay, fine.
Maybe.
Let's see how this breaks out. But what's going to get them into the playoffs is going to be the offensive contributions from Naylor and Suarez that gets them in, because that's what's been missing the last few years, because they just, as I said earlier, they're built for the postseason and not so much for the regular season.
And with that said, now you're obviously hopeful that that Cal keeps it coming, which all signs point to that. This guy just keeps delivering every night. You've seen a little surge from Julio. Randy Arozarena, I think, is your underrated player on this team, and the impact that he has. I mean, it would be nice, and he moves down in the lineup. Obviously, Jorge Polanco, if we could get some of that we saw at the beginning of the season going again, and Cole Young, just in my mind, defensively, offensively, just continues to get better every single day, which is absolutely scary to have a player like that just continues to just. I mean, he is headed in the right direction, and then some, and so it's nice. You don't have a lot of dead spots in this lineup right now, which you can't say, Puck. When you look back at these Mariner rosters, you'd be like, oh God, out. All right, I guess we're going to wait for the next inning, Sure. So they don't have that now. And I mean, there may be something to be said, Puck. I joke about my meeting with John Stanton, but when you go to Cooperstown, which people call the Disneyland for baseball fans, and you go to this small remote town in upstate New York, that is, if you're from Seattle, is absolutely, it's like Lord of the Rings adventure trying to get there. You've got to go through tunnels, moats, planes, trains, and automobiles to get there. And when you get there and you see that there's 5 people being inducted into the Hall of Fame, coming in from the Pirates, you've got the Astros, Cleveland, the Phillies, Yankees, CC Sabathia. And you go into this town that I would tell people that have never been there, it's probably about the size of Sumner, Washington. And it's over 100,000 people packed this town. And when you sit there Saturday night, Hall of Fame parade, and they are 30 deep downtown. And when you look at it, and if you're John Stanton, if you're Jerry DiPoto, Justin Hollander, and you realize this town is 80% Seattle Mariners fans, I think you start realizing, like, we got to do something for these guys. I mean, this fan base is hungry. They are starving. They are passionate. They have been pissed off for years, and we got to take care of them. And I think that's exactly what they sent a message and said, you know what? Let's do all we can and help you guys out. Here we go. So
Yeah,
I
and
don't know. It was just really quick, Puck. What an awesome statement for Seattle Mariners fans to
Sure.
I didn't know how many people were going to be there for Ichiro, but it was unofficially 80% Seattle Mariners fans against every other baseball team. So
I want you to I want to get into that. I want you to detail the struggle to get there, because you were gonna come on. We were gonna record something with you.
yeah.
But then you're like, I can't do it. Everything is shut down. So your travel plans, and then I'll let you take it from here, was going to be Seattle to Chicago to Syracuse, and then you were going to drive up, correct?
Yeah. So
what happened?
So I'm going to tell you that the crescendo to the trip from hell, which is the trip home. But
It's
for
worse
anybody,
than the trip there.
Oh, Puck, it 100 times worse, 100 times worse. So anybody trying to get to Cooperstown, it is definitely worth going. I mean, it is a bucket list place to go. If you're a baseball fan, to go through that museum it's just like, it's history around every single corner. You're walking around town, you're like, oh, hey, there's Johnny Bench. Oh, hey, Rod Carew. Oh, is that Alan Trammell? I got your 82 Topps card. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. So for us to get there, there's obviously no direct flight. So we took a path where we went into Chicago. So we land in Chicago, and as soon as we land, there's lightning everywhere. And they've shut down O'Hare Airport, which if you've ever been there, it's a very gigantic airport, and it turns into pure chaos. So our trip into Syracuse now was delayed 6 hours. So you roll into Syracuse around midnight. And now the problem with Cooperstown is, unless you're a baseball player or an owner of a team, you're probably not staying in Cooperstown because there's only so many spots and it's pretty expensive. So now you have to find these villages, as they call them in upstate New York, where you have to try to find somewhere to stay. And honestly, there's Utica, there's Albany, which is an hour and a half away. We were in a town called Hamilton, which is the home of Colgate University, which was an hour away, and an hour away from Syracuse. So you got to drive all the way from Syracuse to Hamilton, the rest for the night. Then you got to get up, and then you got to drive to Cooperstown, which is about an hour away. So everything, we're delayed about 6 hours, got into Hamilton around 2 a.m., Live Spine, Hall of Fame events start happening. The Hall of Fame parade, I recommend this to anybody, is absolutely the greatest parade of all time. It's just
let me interrupt.
Yeah.
Let me interrupt. So hold on. When you got there at 2 a.m., that was that Friday or Saturday?
That was on Thursday night. Thursday night.
So Friday morning at 2 a.m.
Yeah. So then we get up and we start reporting on Friday.
What time are you? How much sleep did you get?
4 or 5 hours.
Yeah,
4 or 5 hours. And
standard.
I give a lot of compliments to my son. King 5 decided to go, but they said, you know what, Egan, we can only afford to send you. It's hard to complain here because King 5 was the only TV station in the market that actually went to this event.
Yes, you said that several times, I think, on social media.
Yeah, I let John.
Who were you taking a dig at? All of them?
Nobody.
I
just want Seattle to know that, if there's a big story, the Big 5 will be there for you.
Yeah. Do you say, hey, King 5 was there? Where? And then you should have a shirt. Where was Nico and Levine? Because that's what you're saying, Egan.
Yeah, you're reading between the lines. I'm not. I got nothing against Nico and Aaron. I love them both. Good guys.
But we were there.
We're there
at the Olympics. We're there for every big sporting event, including Ichiro. God,
Just
I
thought it
love
was a big event. Thought we should be there. So Friday, it's hanging out with Ichi Meter Lady. I was able to hang out with the Niehaus family, which
Right.
I thought a great story from the Niehaus family was they went up after Dave had passed away, and they went to Ichiro and they wanted to say, "Hey, thanks. My dad loved calling your games, and he was a big fan of yours." And Ichiro said, basically, "Stop there. No, thank you, and thank you for." For what Dave did for baseball in Seattle. So I thought that was like kind of a moment where like those are moments that we hadn't heard a whole lot of Ichiro throughout the years, and making them a little bit more like personable and like real. And I was like, oh, that was pretty special. Saturday, Ichiro talked to the media. I talked to a Japanese media member. I never knew this stat before, Puck, which maybe I've just lost this one, but when he retired in Japan, there was 405 credentialed media members at his post-game presser. Have you heard this story?
No.
So one of the Japanese media members told me on Saturday, Ichiro's last game when he suited up for the Mariners in Japan, 405 credentialed media members there for that press conference. He did not leave until every single credentialed media member asked one question. Pretty cool little story
Awesome.
there. Yeah, so from there we visited with Ichiro, kind of his pregame, then had the Hall of Fame parade, which God bless New York Yankees fans. I had to get in position like 2 hours before the parade, so I'm like 2 rows back even, and I'm there a couple hours before. Right behind me are 4 Yankees fans. This is a Hall of Fame parade, Puck, not a game. They are heckling the Hall of Famers as they come down. Just all of a sudden, I can't make this stuff up, Puck. All of a sudden, they're like, "Ladies and gentlemen, from the Seattle Mariners, let's welcome Hall of Famer Edgar Martinez." And there's Edgar and his wife waving, and the crowd goes wild because it's like I said, 80% fans. When it dies down, all of a sudden you hear, Edgar, how many rings you got? How many rings you got? You got 0, Edgar. You got 0. Hey, Edgar, guess who's coming next? Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter's coming next, and he's got rings, Edgar. He's got rings. Just like, Hawk, I couldn't make it up. Like they are literally heckling every Hall of Famer as they go by.
They still got scar tissue from the double, but you know what?
Yeah,
I like
I
it.
know.
I like what they did.
So they were having fun. Like I said, Puck, you would, if you could take your son to that moment. I mean, that's just like, because it's every car is another Hall of Famer. So you're literally like Randy Johnson. Here comes Bert Blyleven. And you just have flashbacks to moments of your childhood, moments of reporting, where you cover these people, which was absolutely awesome. Sunday is the big Hall of Fame induction speech, which I thought Ichiro hit a home run.
Were you surprised? Did you have any idea he was going to do the whole speech in English?
No, we knew he was going to go all English because we kind of got word on that. We knew he was going to be going last, and I think that was because there was just more Mariner fans than anyone. I love the Billy Wagner story, a guy that only was picked up from a Division III school, under 6 feet tall. I think it was inspiring to hear that. Dave Parker's son was absolutely amazing. CC did great stuff. And then Ichiro, I just didn't know how funny he was going to be. And it was really good. And Ichiro talked about that after the Hall of Fame speech, saying, reason I was a little nervous was I was just afraid of somehow my jokes were going to come out in English. I knew I could deliver it in Japanese, but just how those jokes would deliver in English. And he was phenomenal. I mean, everybody was talking about him there. So great time. And then, Puck, the trip from home, which I call the trip to hell.
So you wrap up. When's the last report Sunday? Sunday in Cooperstown is at what time back there?
So about 10 p.m. 10 p.m. in Cooperstown, we have to kind of pack up. Everything's been sent back to King 5.
You and Austin is your cameraman now.
Austin is carrying the tripod, the GoPro. He was a pro the whole time. Never complained. He did realize, Puck, a lot of people think you and I have glamorous jobs, but he realized, like, it's a lot of waiting. It's a lot of editing. It's a lot of just standing. And the
And he
good
goes,
news
Dad,
is,
this is why I'm going into commercial real estate.
yeah, this is why I'm going to follow mom's path and make
Yeah.
money and have fun.
Yeah.
But the good thing with kids is they have their phones, and he watched Happy Gilmore while I was editing one day. So,
Oh,
I
why
mean,
not?
he kept busy. So we begin the journey home to Puyallup, which starts in Cooperstown. So we leave that night at 10 p.m. And on the ride home, we first off almost hit a porcupine, which was right in the middle of the road. Something new for me. Had never came across a porcupine
Couldn't
in
you
the middle of the
just
road.
run over the porcupine? It's
Probably
not going to
could.
do damage to the rental car, is it?
Could have took it. I mean, you never know. Could have popped the tires, Puck.
Okay.
So then, I mean, we're going through farm country and a great father-son teaching moment. Two deer go across real quickly, and I'm driving about 50. And I tell Austin, I slow it down. I said, don't look at the deer at the right, look at the left. And he's like, what? I go, a lot of people want to look at those two deer that have already crossed the road. Smart travelers look to the left because there's probably more deer. Sure enough, one more deer, another deer. So luckily, slowed it down, missed those deer.
Never knew you were a deer car traveling expert.
Throw it on my resume, Puck.
Yes.
2 miles down the road, another 4-pack of deer go by us. Skate
Jeez,
that,
man.
So we get back to Hamilton around midnight. We got to get up at 6 a.m. and get to Syracuse for a flight. So we get up, everything's good. We get in our car, we head to Syracuse, rental car away, get on the plane from Syracuse to Chicago. Everything's going good.
Oh,
Okay,
great.
didn't
Great
hit
trip.
any porcupines, didn't hit any deer. All of a sudden, I feel like we're flying. The flight seems to be going a little long. And I'm like, why have we not landed in Chicago? And you look outside and there's a lot of storms. It's just circling Chicago. And sure enough, the pilot gets on and says, ladies and gentlemen, there are thunderstorms in Chicago and the airport is closed. So we're going to just fly around for a little bit. I'm like, okay, all right. 15 minutes later, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head to Detroit. I'm like, okay, all right, I guess we're heading to Detroit. So we start heading to Detroit. 15 minutes later, ladies and gentlemen, it appears the Chicago airport will be opening up again. So we're going to head back to Chicago, but please, we're going to buckle up and kind of tighten down the cabin as we have to go through a major storm. Okay. So now, and Austin's enjoying this. He thinks we're at an amusement ride at the Washington State Fair. He's looking out the window and it's just black skies and lightning bolts. And Puckett,
Jesus.
I'm 52, Puck, and Austin says it wasn't bad. I think he thought he was on a ride. We go through the heart of the storm, and it just goes whoom. Screaming, bags are popping, women are crying, they're screaming. Puck, at that moment,
Nope.
I'm literally going, lived a good life. I have life insurance. Is my wife good? Yes, she's good. I felt bad for Austin because he's like, I felt like he has a lot more to give. And I'm like, okay, who's taking care of my funeral? I think my brother can handle that. I'm literally like going because it just dropped. And then you're just like, it's a great moment because you're just like, is everything taken care of? I'm like, I feel pretty good. Thank you. Love you. I didn't have time to text. I was going to send out a text to the family. I probably would have sent a message. So, Puck, we bounce back up and we get through the storm and there's sunshine. Are you ready for this? Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have enough gas to get to Chicago, so we're going to turn around through that storm again and land in Detroit.
Oh, my God.
And you could have heard a couple F-bombs in the back behind me. So, and I'm literally like, what the heck? So we're going through the storm again, and there's my good buddy Austin's like, here we go, Dad.
Buckle up. He's got like his phone out, ready to like record the whole thing.
He's got the window seat. So all of a sudden we start shaking again.
Oh, jeez.
We get through that, Puck. We land in Detroit. Okay.
Crying. People are crying.
People are shocked. There's a couple up in front of me. I don't think they've ever flown before. I don't think they ever will again.
Yeah, done.
We get to Detroit, the captain. All right, we're going to refuel, and then we'll head back to Chicago.
No, we're good in Detroit.
Puck, I can't make this thing up, and it just keeps going. And all of a sudden, you hear lightning and thunder, and rain starts coming in Detroit. 10 minutes later, Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to need to deboard. The Detroit airport is now shut down because that storm is now right on top of Detroit. so, so we, so I'm literally texting my wife. Oh, Alaska now. Get me out of here. You find a flight in Detroit. You find anything. Get me home. Like it's just like get me home. So I'm going back and forth with my wife. People are scrambling. You know, we get off the plane. The lines are like 40 deep everywhere to try to get with a booking agent, right?
Yeah.
I'm in the line. I'm yelling with my wife. I get a tap on my shoulder. It's my son. I'm like, hey, what do you got, Austin? What do you got? Hey, Dad, they got a Chick-fil-A down there. You want me to pick up a couple Chick-fil-A's?
I mean, it's the important things, Egan.
So gave the credit card to
what did you get? I mean,
we got 3 chicken sandwiches. He ate 2. I had 1. So some waffle fries. Yeah. So we had food. We finally get up, and the guy says there are no flights to Seattle out of Detroit today. So what we're going to do is we're going to put you back on that plane and fly back into Chicago. And that flight will leave for Seattle around 9 p.m. Or 6 a.m. Depends which one we can get you on. So we get back on that flight. We land safely in Chicago at like 6 p.m. now. And I tell Austin, all right, let's get some food. Let's get dinner. Everything's
Chick-fil-A
good.
again, maybe?
I think we did Chili's.
Does Chili's have the bloomin' onion?
Yeah, they got
Chili's.
That's
what's that? Is that Outback?
Outback Steakhouse.
Okay.
Has the
What is Chili's known for? Chili's.
They got baby back ribs.
Baby back ribs.
Yeah, and then they got a nice sampler platter, which we went with mozzarella sticks.
Mozzarella. Yeah, everything's deep fried.
Potato skins. Nothing healthy about it at all.
God, it's good.
So we find our gate. The flight is supposed to leave at 9. 9 o'clock hits, Puck, and we haven't heard a thing.
Yeah, nothing.
I'm like, hey,
no, is anyone at the gate?
Oh, it's packed. The plane is sold out.
No, but are the people the gate agents? They're there.
Oh, they're there. They're there
on the phones, pretending to talk to people and typing away.
100%. So we're kind of like, okay. And then all of a sudden, the lady picks up the thing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a delay on our flight to Seattle, so we're going to hopefully be boarding at 10 o'clock. Okay, so now you've got a flight full of people waiting, and now there's panic, and false journalism starts to take over. 2 couples have said that the plane has hit a wire at some point, and we don't know how they got that information. One person says that there's no pilots on the plane. So we're like, what is happening? There's a teacher from Bellarmine Prep who went and did some really good journalism with myself. I was texting people I knew with Alaska Airlines, like, what's going on? Do you know anything about this flight home to Seattle? 11 o'clock hits. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a little more delay. We need to bring maintenance in, and maintenance is still a couple hours away. Puckett, that clears out half the room because now people start booking flights.
Yeah,
because everybody's like, there's no way this plane is leaving.
Yeah.
The teacher and I have discovered we believe it's a flat tire. They haven't mentioned that yet, but we believe it's a flat tire. We think that's going to get fixed. We think the flight was.
Hold on. How do you and the Bellarmine Prep teacher conclude that it could be a flat tire?
He had a source telling that. I had a source telling that. So we figured we got 2 different sources. This is pretty good.
FAA's new reporter for NBC.
So we got a couple sources telling us it's a flat tire at this point. So now we think the next flight out of Chicago is 6 a.m. We think this flight's still going to go. So we're like, hold on to our tickets.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, half the plane is bailing because people are freaking out. Hey, everybody. This happens around 11 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a few more hours. It is a flat tire. Where maintenance is here. They're going to fix the tire, but hang on, we've got a nice $12 voucher for you if you want to come pick that up.
Oh, of course. 12. I mean, why not?
Yes, at 12 a.m., Puckett, the only thing open in an airport is Hudson News. So
I do like a Hudson News, though. It's got everything that you want there at a Hudson News.
Yeah,
full-size candy bars, great magazines, good snacks.
So we had two of them with Austin and I. So we went to Hudson News and got, some fresh waters and some deli sandwiches and did all right.
Nothing like a deli sandwich at midnight at Hudson's
No.
News.
So everybody's yelling at the flight attendant. I'm taking this now as an opportunity to brown nose the flight attendant.
Upgrade.
So I go, bingo, Puckett. You saw where I was going. I go up there with a water. I go, you've been pretty busy. Do you need a water? She's like, oh my God, you are like the only nice one here to do that. Thank you. Hand her the water. I go, hey, my son is in 24F and I'm in a middle seat. Is there any way we can? She's like, you both will be in premiere together. So we're like seat 7 right below first class, leg room, everything. So once the tire has been fixed, Puck, we end up leaving Chicago at 3:30 a.m. to make things even better. When we finally load, Austin and I are in premiere seat number 7 together. There's nobody in seat 8. I asked the stewardess, we're being nice. Can we take 8 too? She's like, take it. So we're sitting in, we got 3 premiere seats to ourselves. We land in Seattle around 5:30 a.m. Melanie Egan not happy to get up that early to pick us up, but
did she say, hey, why not just take an Uber?
She did. God, you know her too well. She not only does she do that, Puck, she starts throwing out the comparison game, like our friends. So and so wouldn't ask his wife to pick him up; he'd get an Uber. Your brother wouldn't ask for his Karen to pick him up. I
looked at the schedule. You could take the light rail into downtown, and downtown you could catch the bus that takes you in the expressway back home.
And my thing, Puck, was like, honey, I've been traveling 27 hours. The last thing I want to do for the last half hour is have small talk with somebody I have no idea who they are.
No.
So I said,
you up the entire time of this? Have you nodded off at all?
I've not even nodded off. No.
Oh,
Austin slept on the plane ride home from Chicago to Seattle. I struggled, Puck, after that near life.
Yeah,
I kind of wanted to keep my eyes open on everything going on. So I watched. I watched some Alaska Airlines movies. I don't even remember what I watched. I watched Quarterback. I downloaded a couple Netflix episodes of The Quarterback.
All right.
So
what a trip, huh? That is a fantastic story.
Oh, you ready for this, Puck? Get home 5:30 a.m. I love my executive producer, Tony White, but he's like, we going to be able to get you to Seahawks camp today?
You should have just sent him an emoji of flipping him off, the middle finger. F you, Tony.
I actually went, Puck, because I've never been more happy to be home from a trip in my life, and I was just feeling pretty good about things. So I'm like,
I'll go. What time did you get at camp at? Like noon?
At that point, I'm like, I got to camp at noon, went back to the station. I had to do some streaming stuff, and then got home and slept like a baby for 10 hours. So
wait a minute. So you get home at like 6 a.m.
6 a.m. I maybe took like a half-hour nap. I'm not a big napper, Puck. So.
I love a good nap. And then you'll write to Seahawks back to King 5.
Yeah.
To do some streaming.
We have a half-hour pickleball show that's coming out, so we had to get that finalized. But life is fine. Puck, tonight, speaking of pickleball, tonight I'll be at 23 Kitchens in Lacey playing pickleball with Cliff Averill to try to help the youth movement of pickleball, some type of charity event. So 23 Kitchens in Lacey, if you're down there in that area, say hi to Cliff.
What's 23 Kitchens?
It's one of the premier outdoor pickleball venues in the state. It's a great, and they got food there, drinks there. I think they have 6 indoor courts and 12 outdoor courts, and they've got a big tournament Friday. Today's kind of the celebrity pro-am event, and then Saturday night they have a pro division with like $10,000, $6,000 up for grabs for the winner.
Jesus.
And then Sunday's a fun kids day. So I'll say this to anybody listening: if you're interested in pickleball with your kids, go to 23 Kitchens on Sunday. I think it's a free event for everybody, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
We need something like that up here in Seattle. We got to get on it.
Yeah. So I'm home, Puck. I'm home though.
That is I'm exhausted.
And then
I'm exhausted
I
listening to that
leave
story.
Sunday, Puck. I leave Sunday for Utah. We're going to be heading to Kearns, Utah, to track down U.S. Olympic speed skaters. The Winter Olympics now, Puck, you know it's coming fast. So we got kids from Bellevue, Kirkland, Federal, Tacoma, all trying to make the U.S. Olympic team. So we'll be in Utah next Monday. And then next Friday, Puck, we may try to do something that's never been done. I'll be in Alaska fishing. So it'd be pretty cool if we could somehow pull off a live shot from a boat. I don't know if it will happen.
Up to you. Up to you. I'll let you decide. All I want for you before next week, all I want for you is, will you change your phone or your name back to your name on your phone? I'm sitting there texting what I think is you yesterday as I'm driving home.
Yeah.
Always text. Hey Siri, send a text to Chris Egan. And I don't really want it now. And I'm sending a series of texts about today. And then I'm just saying, if you responded, I look down. Well, that's not you.
It says Austin Egan, right?
Yeah, stop. Change it.
We can't. Here's the problem, Puck. We don't know how to do this. I don't know what's happened, why it's done this. Our phones are on the same Apple ID.
Well, change it back.
Well, I know. I don't know why it's changed.
I don't even know who the Chris is in my context. Who's getting all these texts? Like,
I don't know. I'm trying my best to do this because you're not the only one that's complaining about this. But they said one of you needs to delete your phone to start up a new Apple ID, and I'm like, well, that's not going to be me.
It's going to be Austin.
I mean, yeah, I got
you, Austin.
Yeah, I got 50 years of contacts in there. I mean, if I want to talk to Danny Tartable,
we should do a show one time where we just randomly go through our phones and just call somebody.
And you and I just talk to him.
Hey, Trev Alberts, a former AD at Nebraska. Hey, Trev, how you doing?
Hey, I heard something that Mark Hendrickson may be in town for the first time in a while, coming up here for a Hall of Fame event. So we'll keep an eye on that one, Puck. Yeah.
All right. Great story. Have a great weekend. Have fun at the pickleball tournament.
Thanks, buddy. Go M's.
Go M's. There he is, Chris Egan, King 5. God almighty. That is a hell of a story there from Egan. One of the best in the business. We love having him on every single Friday. All right, it's a Friday tradition. We during the baseball season, we have our scout on. He's an anonymous baseball scout. He's been working in baseball for the past 30 years. We discussed the Suarez trade, what the Mariners gave up, what they got in return, also other trades around baseball. Here is another Friday visit with the scout. Headline is in the rear view mirror. Now we look ahead to the rest of the second half of the season here for baseball and for the Mariners, and also just get a quick recap of that trade deadline. The scout joins us right now. The scout, the real scoop on the Mariners and baseball from our anonymous baseball scout who currently works for a Major League Baseball team. Been covering the sport for the past 30 years. Boy, Scout, it was a wild and eventful trade deadline. I mean, there were a flurry of moves happening left and right. It just seemed more active than it ever has been before.
Yeah, and obviously it just becomes more visible with with people in the hunt. But it boiled down to the end of the day, like it normally was, is it's the haves and the people that are involved and people that aren't. So if you're either selling or buying, and for me, a lot of teams that were buying, gave up quite a bit because they're trying to win a World Series. So it's definitely an exciting time for baseball.
What did you think of what the Mariners did?
I thought the Mariners did an outstanding job. Because everybody knows they're World Series ready right now. I mean, I know sometimes the Northwest fans don't want to hear that, but they've got the pitching staff to do that. And they, like I said, they brought in 2 proven bats. And really, if you look at their top, like I said, sometimes I would warn people a little bit to worry about the looking at their club's top 30 or whatever, because it's beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? But if you do look at the third party and they talk about the Mariners prospects, they really didn't give up top 10 proven type guys for guys that are actually in the lineup, hitting in the middle of the lineup right now. So I think Jerry did a nice job.
Were you surprised with the return? I think most people thought, they'd have to give up one of their top 100 prospects, one of the top 100 prospects in baseball, one of their top guys. They didn't have to do that at all, Scout.
No, I mean, Harry Ford's still a Mariner, right? Emerson, Montez, Arroyo, guys that we've talked about, Sloan. There's numerous guys that we talked about in the past, Buck, in the last couple months that I thought would have to be gone for a quality bat. I think if you look at maybe why they got they didn't have to give up some of those guys because they got guys in return that they aren't in control of them, or Suarez and Naylor, those guys are, as they're on the last year of their contract, so they gave up guys that are true rental players. I mean, they were giving up guys to rent guys for a year. I think if you're talking your top 5 or 6 prospects, they got the Harry Fords of the world, the Sloans, the Colt Emersons. If they were to trade those guys, they needed to get somebody back in return that they had some control over. So I think it was a really, really good trade for Seattle.
You surprised though? We talked a lot about Harry Ford. Ultimately, were you surprised that he was not dealt at the deadline?
Yeah, I did. I just, he's a young, athletic, interesting catcher that a lot of people would like to have in their organization. No idea, what the talks were. It's above my pay grade, but I think if they Seattle would have gotten a bat in return, like I said, that they had leverage over, that they had control of, they would have had to give up a guy like Harry Ford. But because they got guys that they don't need to re-sign, or they could potentially re-sign them, but they're not responsible from the year after. That's why they gave up what they gave up.
Scout, we know about Tyler Locklear. We're gonna get to him just a quick second. The other 2 guys involved in the Suarez deal, Hunter Cranton, relief pitcher. He was the 16th overall prospect for the Mariners. Juan Burgos was the other relief pitcher in that trade. We saw him actually come up with the Mariners a few weeks ago, the 17th overall prospect. We'll get to maybe a thought on those 2 guys. Let's go to Locklear first. A guy that he's had a taste at the major league level, hasn't been able to stick around. He goes down to Tacoma and he's been on an absolute heater. Did he figure something out? Is this ultimately going to be a loss for Seattle, you think?
Only thing I can do, Puck, is evaluate Locklear when I saw Locklear. When I saw Locklear, he wasn't on his heater. He wasn't playing great baseball. I thought there was a swing change from his time that I saw him in Everett up to AAA. His numbers speak for himself. He's having some really, really good numbers. But in my opinion, when I saw him, I didn't consider him an everyday first baseman. There's a outside chance. I had him down more as a reserve type player because he's got some power, obviously. But like I said, it could just be about opportunity, ballpark, all those types of things. But he's done enough at the AAA level. My guess is he'll have a chance to play every day up in Arizona to see if he's a guy that can stick in the big leagues.
And what about the 2 relief pitchers?
What's the first one? Or the Burgos
and Burgos?
Yeah, I would call those guys both suspects. When it comes to Burgos, he's almost 26 years old, and he's got his big league. He's got very little big league experience, but he does have it, obviously, right? So it's a good arm. They both have good arms. I don't think, like I said, they're ever going to be high leverage inning type arms. I don't see those guys as being the guys that are going to pitch in the 8th, 9th inning and finish ball games. But I think they're both quality big league arms.
When you evaluate again and then Caleb Ferguson, what they did with Suarez and what they did with Naylor, we talked a lot about leading up to this deadline, Scout, was these were the positions they need to hit on, and the corner out, the corner infield positions, and then a bullpen arm. I mean, this is nothing but a success. We started off talking about this, but they came away with exactly what they needed at the deadline.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we talked about the at-bats with Naylor and Suarez. For one, you're getting Naylor's one of those guys that has this he's kind of got a reputation to show up big in bigger moments, right? His overall numbers maybe aren't as good as you like him, but it's power. Left-handed bat is power, and that's exactly what Seattle needs at that position. Suarez is a guy that's on fire right now. He's playing great baseball. I think I read something, Puck, where he's got more home runs being traded than any player in the history of Major League Baseball. I don't think anybody's ever had more home runs at that point of being traded. So it's exactly what they needed. And what we haven't talked about yet, like I'm glad you brought it up, was Ferguson. I think that's perfect. I mean, they need that left-handed guy in the bullpen, right? Or, that's what they need. And he's got a ton of major league experience. He was with, he was in the big leagues in 22 and 23 with LA. And then in 24, he was with the Yankees in Houston. And obviously then he was with Pittsburgh, and now he's with Seattle. So he's got tons of experience, and they need that quality left-hander in the bullpen. Saucedo was kind of their guy last year, and it's definitely an upgrade. So I think it's a home run for the Mariners. I think they did a great job.
It'll be a nice combo with him and Gabe Spire. All right, let me just stay with Ferguson for a quick second. For people out here who really don't know much about him, go a little bit more in depth. The type of pitch arsenal. What are the Mariners getting in Caleb
Fastball,
Ferguson?
slider, cutter guy. He's 6'3". He's 225 pounds, right? So it's a physical guy. He's got velo. I mean, in the big scheme of things, when he's at his best, he's one of those guys. He's got enough arsenal. He'll throw the fastball, he'll throw the slider, he'll throw the cutter, the curveball. So he kind of throws 4 pitches, but really predominantly, when he's facing left-handers, he's going to throw a certain way. When he's throwing right-handers, he's going to throw a certain way, usually 2 pitches to each guy. But he's one of those guys that does a really good job on back-to-back days of holding his velo. Not a lot of guys can do that. He's going to be, 94, 95 with the fastball. The cutter's 88 to 90. It looks more like a changeup, but it's a good arm. Like I said, he's going to be one of those guys where he'll pitch high, leverage innings for the Mariners, and he'll be really, really good against left-handers.
Some other big trades in baseball, Scout, just your thoughts on them. The Padres obviously just pushing all their chips in. I mean, they traded away 4 of their top 17 prospects to a package that included Mason Miller. I mean, it's maybe a unique situation this year with so many closers that were available. But, boy, some of these packages going back to teams for relievers, to me, just kind of indicates how much the game has kind of shifted now.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is that, the Mariners, obviously, particularly, they've got good late inning guys, and they were still trying to add guys, too. I mean, there were players linked, so it just basically says that you can't have too many quality late inning relievers. San Diego gave up a lot for Miller, but I guarantee they still have control over him. He's only 20, he's 26.9. He's not even 27 years old yet. So he's a guy that you could say, hey, this guy could be our lockdown late inning, 9th inning closer for the next 5 years. So you're willing to give up, quite a king's ransom. And San Diego's a little bit like if you live down in that area, whatever in that area, they want a championship down there. They've paid a lot of money on players, and they've kind of been close. So I think they've got some restless fans down there, and you can't win a championship unless you get those last 3 outs. And now they've got a guy, even though they gave up a lot, they've got a guy that they feel like can get the last 3 outs against anybody, pitching against anybody anytime.
Sure, going to be a fun second half, right, after this deadline with what the Yankees added, with McMahon, and they go, they get Caballero, they add Bednar, so they're making additions. Obviously, we talked about Seattle, what the Astros did as well. Even the Rangers. I mean, this is going to be a hell of a fun ride here in the American League.
Yeah, no question. I think it's going to go right down to the wire, and it's exciting too. I know it hasn't changed a lot of the outcomes, but I love the wild card. Just more people are involved in it longer, and that's exciting for fans to be involved. And I know the Mariner fans. This is the greatest time of the year to live in the Northwest, obviously with the weather, and the Mariners playing great baseball and bringing 2 quality bats and a crucial bullpen arm. So what an exciting time for all of baseball, but for in particular Mariner fans locally.
Scout, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us as you always do every Friday. Appreciate it. The Scout with us, the real scoop on the M's in baseball for our anonymous baseball scout who currently works for a Major League Baseball team, has been covering the sport for the past 30 years. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Buck.
There he is, the Scout with us every single Friday, giving you the opinions on what the Mariners gave up to acquire Eugenio Suarez. And again, you look back at the Suarez deal and the Naylor deal, both rental players, both not under contract for next season. So you didn't have to give up much to get them. And that was surprising, as we talked to Jude about it earlier. What surprising was that most industry insiders thought that it was going to take this massive package to get Suarez. And it did not end up being that at all. In case you missed it, go back and watch or listen to the beginning of the show with our conversation with Adam Jude. Said the Mariners were really going hard after Duran, the relief pitcher for the Twins, and ended up we're offering 2 high-profile prospects. No doubt 2 guys in the top 100. And so who those guys were, they don't know. He did not know who those two guys were, but that it was a strong package that ultimately the Twins decided to go there in a different direction. All right. The Hey, What the Puck coming up here in just a quick second. Although there's just so much other stuff that has happened today here in the last few days. that either we've missed or it's just happening today. So like in other news, things that we may have missed. The news just coming out, well, not just coming out, but you saw the news by now. Charles Cross going to miss the next 2 to 3 weeks. Surgery for a dislocated finger. God, that's bad news for Charles Cross. And certainly bad news is it's not going to affect his contract extension talk, but certainly just affecting him and his progress and leading up to the start of the regular season. As of right now, and I want to just double check, I don't think there is an update. There is not an update on Trent Thornton. But if you were watching that game last night when Trent Thornton was trying to run over and cover first base, the initial thought was, okay, hey, maybe he rolled his ankle. But when you watch the replay of it, we've seen this injury a million times. And I'm going to be stunned today if it doesn't come out that he tore his Achilles and then he's out, for, it's a year plus. And that's just terrible because you know what? He was pitching his ass off last night. He looked great. And for that to happen with 2 outs, and you're going to get that out and you're going to be out of it, awful. That is if that is indeed the Achilles, that is just an awful injury there for Trent Thornton. Major League Baseball has changed the Cole Young home run, but it doesn't really matter. He still smacked the shit out of it. It was 470 feet. They've come back today and said it's 456 feet. That was a mammoth home run by Cole Young. And Jude's right. This guy has got a chance to be so special, real special. Follows that up later with a triple. Plays great at second base. Just a old school baseball player. He is a fun kid to watch. And this is why I think if you get into the offseason, why a Michael Arroyo, sorry, Mitch, is going to be expendable because he doesn't have a position to play. And he's not better than Cole Young. Other baseball news, Chicago Cubs are going to host the 2027 All-Star Game. It's the first time since 1990. I said this before, I think on last week's episode of the Sports Bit. That is my favorite ballpark in the world. If you've never been to Wrigley Field, and you're a baseball fan, make it a point to go out to Wrigley Field. It is just phenomenal. Everything about it. The surrounding area, but the park itself. It's just baseball. NFL news, Micha Parsons and the Cowboys are feuding. In fact, I think there's just some new news on this here in the last minute or two. The Athletic reporting the relationship is not good. Parsons could ask for a trade. He has gone to social media and has asked for a trade. He is in the final year of his rookie deal. John, you got a new contract. You're secure through 2030 or whatever it is. Just pick up the phone. Just pick up the phone right now and see what the Cowboys want. Come on. Can you imagine having Micha Parsons on this team? Give up whatever. Speaking of trade requests, Terry McLaurin, the wide receiver of the Commanders, he's requested a trade. 29-year-old's been seeking a new deal for months. Currently on the last year of his deal, he signed back in 22. He'll be making $15.5 million this year. I know a lot of Seahawks fans want him. No. Buyer beware. Want to know why? He's going to turn 31 soon. When he turns 31, and that would be the first year because he wants a new deal. Listen, you just got rid of a guy that in DK Metcalf, you don't want to pay a lot of money to because of his age. He's in the same draft class. He's going to turn 31 when that new deal kicks in. Here's the stat for you. If anyone says, get me Terry McLaurin, you throw this back. He'll turn 31, and since 2010, there's only 16 wide receivers that have eclipsed 1,000 yards after turning 31. He's good. He's not that good. Don't waste draft capital and don't waste money on Terry McLaurin. Finally, Charlie Woods, of course, the son of Tiger Woods, is attempting to make the U.S. Junior Ryder Cup team as we speak. He entered today tied for second place at the Junior PGA Championship after shooting a 5 under 66 in Indiana. Players are vying for 2 automatic spots. The event, the U.S. Junior Ryder Cup versus Europe, will take place at the Nassau Country Club and Bethpage Black, September 23rd through 25th. So follow that story. Charlie Woods, hell of a golfer, trying to make the U.S. Ryder Cup team. All right, before we wrap up here for a Friday, it's Hey, What the Puck. our little commentaries. We end every single show. Brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. Your restoration company lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services. Locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when these damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. We asked and they delivered. We asked the Mariners to go all in, and they did. Sure, they could have gotten maybe a better bullpen arm, but the most pressing needs was first and third base, and they nailed it. And the best part of this deal is they didn't give up any significant draft capital. Are you worried about rentals? Some people will be, don't be. Certainly, if it ends up on a World Series ground, no one's going to care that they were rentals. This is what teams should do. When they have these pieces, you go out and acquire guys like Suarez and Naylor to go win a world championship. And for the first time in the Dipoto era, they actually, with their actions and not their words, finally told their fan base that they are trying to win a World Series. We'll see what comes here in the final couple months of the season. All right, that's Hey, What the Puck? And again, brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. It is your restoration company that lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services. Locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when these damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. We'll have more on my outing at Gamble when Jim Moore comes back on Monday. They have got and I'll have more details on this on Monday. They got a brand new course. This is what I went out there for. A brand new course that just opened up today called the Scarecrow. It's just their second course there, full 18. They've got a par 3. But if you're a golf fan, it is phenomenal. Like you are, it is a phenomenal golf course. If you are an avid golfer, low guy that likes to be challenged, you're going to love it. If you're just a weekend hack like me and others, you're going to love it too. It's perfect for everyone. We'll talk more about it coming up on Monday with Jim. Thank you and I got some great stories coming out of this last 2 days. Thanks for watching and listening today. Thank you to all our sponsors. As always, Limback Lumber, Georgetown Brewery. Clean Streak, by the way, Brian Turner Clean Streak. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays with Jim Moore. Georgetown, please go check out their new Tavern Beer if you haven't done so, and visit their website at georgetownbeer.com. Also, Restoration One. Today's Daily Punch Up on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel. Also, find the Daily Punch Up on your favorite podcast platforms. And, of course, always up at pucksports.com. When you're at pucksports.com, sign up, become a member of the Pucks Posse. $5 a month is all it costs you. You get free content, everything that we do free, plus VIP shows there as well, like our MLB Insider Show with Ryan Divish. By the way, open that up for everyone this week. So we gave Pucks Posse members a few days to have it all to themselves. That episode, because it's been well received, and really it's just because Ryan really opened up about this past few months of coaching his stepson's baseball team and what those kids meant to him. So I thought we would just open it up to everyone. So if you want to watch or listen to that, you can listen to it if you just go to the pucksports.com and click on the Patreon page there, and it will take you right to that episode if you want to listen to it. If you want to watch it, just go to YouTube and you will find the episode there. Also, the Sports Pit, that $5 a month gets you the Sports Pit every single week, plus Mitchie the Kid are on Thursdays, and we now produce the Garage with Gas Take 5 podcast as well, where you can find everywhere and up at pucksports.com. All right. Everybody enjoy the weekend. Seafair. Go watch the Blue Angels fly over everywhere. It's fun. It's what makes us Seattleites. All right. We'll talk to you on Monday. As always, we promise to be better.
No shoes. No dice.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rob you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!